Hello there. Hi, everyone. My name is Bruce, and today on A Girl, a Guy, and a Movie, we're going to discuss the 1968 classic. Oddly enough, a movie about death, coming back, justice, all those things. We're talking about this on Easter Sunday, and this is a 1968 film, Hang 'em High. Janet, how are you doing, hon?
I'm good, and I will join as soon as my screen isn't so big. Okay, there you go. Hello, everyone. And I was going to show you my outfit. So look.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna
I
knock it off to the
even
10
have
people
the
that
little
do.
shorts that the girls wear, in the house. So, yeah, turned out pretty good.
I'm gonna have to keep these videos. I'm gonna have to keep these videos accessible to me because I tell you what, at some point in my future, uh, we're not gonna be probably so close, or what have you. I'm gonna be alone again, and these videos are gonna be all I have to keep me warm. I thank you so much today, Janet, for being here with us. Uh, this this was a interesting film. Uh, kind of had kind of had some callbacks for you because you're looking around as this movie's being shot. All the scenes are unfolding, and this movie is like down the road from you.
Well, it's, you talking about where it was filmed?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was filmed, where
It's
was
not
it
really filmed there. It's supposed to be set there, and they got a couple
in
exterior
Oklahoma,
shots.
yeah.
They got a
Hmm.
couple exterior shots not too far from your position,
Hmm.
but the majority of this is like Oklahoma,
Yeah.
and
At least that's
you,
what it was supposed to be pretending to be.
yeah, it's not a this is not a film that like I initially had a lot of high hopes for, but once we started seeing the trailers and we started looking at the people involved
Hmm.
and things like that, then I started noticing like, okay, this movie's going to have some really good. Once we cross the Rubicon of the opening credits, the movie's going to be pretty good quality, and I really wasn't disappointed with it. So this is a solid film. Clint took a lot of lessons that he had from the Dollars trilogy, and he managed to partake in one of the much better films of 1968. Hungar the Starvarian, member for 23 months. Somehow I have a
Hello,
fan.
Hangar.
Thank you, Hungar. Hungar, how you doing, sir? Kraken Gamer rolls in as well. Others are available on other networks as well. Glad to see everybody here. Um, what was your first thoughts? You've never seen this movie before, have you?
No, I was expecting, a little more that I seemed to get. Because after weighing both the movies, I still like a few dollars more better.
Of course.
Well, it was good. I mean, it was good. I liked the fact that he was out to get revenge, from what happened to him at the beginning. But it almost seemed like, I don't know. I really think the editing wasn't very good because it seemed like they clipped out parts that we needed. I don't know. It seems like there's missing gaps for me here and there throughout the movie. The whole scene, the whole drawn out scene going through the desert with the horses and the just little things like that. Have you ever ridden a horse,
Me?
Bruce? Yeah.
It's been about 25 years since I've
Okay.
saddled up.
Well, when you're on a horse and you're riding it for a long period of time, like on a trail ride, and it's hot and they start getting thirsty, just like you were saying about getting off the horse and walking and letting the horse just have, its own weight to carry, basically, they start to have a sweat that foams up on their bodies.
Mhm.
around where the saddle is and where the bridle's at and things like that. I didn't see anything like that at all. And yet the people were passing out, and things like that. There were just little things like that. There was a lot of continuity errors, factual errors, and I put them in the chat when we were watching the whole thing about when he showed the state of Oklahoma about to be a state or becoming a state, or they're working toward becoming a state. They showed the map of it, which isn't correct because it didn't have the little panhandle on it until way after they became a state. After, and this wasn't a state yet, but the picture on the wall looked like that. So little things that were factual errors that I noticed.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah, there was quite a bit. And plus, for continuity, I saw vehicles in the background way off in the distance a few times, and just little things like that. Just you'd have to go back and watch it. Like 10 minutes in, I saw when I started noticing little things like they were rushed, and all of that could have been fixed with editing. You see what I mean? So that's why I think whoever the editor was or the editors were cheap. Compared to the spaghetti westerns, because remember, Hungar's in the hospital.
I just read that.
I know, it's horrible. I'm sorry you're in the hospital on Easter, but I hope you get better.
Yeah, man. Like, seriously, whatever you got to do to balance things out, please get well.
Yeah, take care. Do what you're told. That's another thing. The nurse comes in and says, drink this or whatever. Do what she tells you. But just little things like that were frustrating for me, and I did like the whole basis of how he kind of had a character arc where he gets betrayed at the very beginning, which seemed like a decent guy, a guy that quit being a lawman and decided he wanted to start a farm or a small ranch and maybe get a woman, and progress his future like that by being a family man, a rancher, whatever type of thing. And he gets hung by these guys that just, don't want to listen to what he has to say. They're pushing their weight around because they think they're better than everyone else, basically. So he ends up living thanks to a real lawman that was a good one. And he decides once he lives, and then they straighten it out because a real judge and a real lawman actually looked into it, found out who he really was, and that he didn't steal the cows, and that someone else had went in there to murder. But at least he got to see the person who sold him the fake cows or whatever. He got to see him hang. But you know what? I had a hard time not liking the judge, because of the situation we're in right now with the judges, the crap judges that are throwing people out left and right. And here you have a judge that's fighting because he asked good questions. Like when Clint Eastwood said, well, those two young boys, the young teenagers, helped me by not attacking me or anything while I was fighting with the other guy, right? And the judge said this, well, did they help you fight the guy off? And he said, no. And he goes, but they sold the horses. They sold the cattle. And he goes, yeah. So see, he was right. The judge was right. You couldn't not try the two young teenagers for the crime they did commit. You know what I mean? So he was right. He was trying to bring law and order to the Wild West. And, I had a hard time not agreeing with the judge. Did you have that problem?
I had a hard time with the judge, period.
You did?
I had a hard time with the judge.
Why? He was lawful. He was a good lawful judge.
He was lawful, but at the same time, it felt like there were so many situations popping up or little circumstantial shit where, like, there's a crime that's not punishable by hanging, but we get stated faster if we hang them. Like, really?
Yeah, but did you see how full his jail was?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, and did you see did you see the circumstances in the jail?
You know what I saw, Janet? I saw a fuck ton of trees outside. We could build another goddamn jail. Okay, call me a dick, but there's plenty of resources out there.
In the town that he was in, okay, in the town that he was in, he just didn't have a lot of help. See what I mean? He didn't have, just like
He
you said,
didn't.
he had
You're right. You're right. It was a
he
frontier.
had all these other things going on. So it's not like he could say, hey, people, help me build another jail, and then we'll try to get some lawmen that other people aren't going to kill and shoot in the back so that we can put more people in jail. And then we got to have people to feed them and house them. See what I mean? You got to look at both sides of the story. And basically,
Sure.
I was
I get that. I get that, but we really, like, there's a lot of stuff we could do. Infrastructure sucks. The best thing we can do is put these 10 rapscallions to work, have them help us build a building. It'll be another jail. We'll have a safe place to put more of these.
See, the thing is, who's going to watch them while they're building, and who's going to provide all the tools and the stuff like that so that they don't
deputize a 12-year-old boy, give him a Sharps 50. You know it'll lay him on his ass if he fucking pulls the trigger once, but he's going to be dead on accurate with that first shot. Those 10 guys building that jail aren't going to fuck with that kid because he's got a Sharps 50. I'm telling you, like, and he's going to try his best.
You're putting more into it than there seemed to be in the movie. I mean,
I know, but I was very much upset with the fact that it's like we have to hang these guys. There's a lack of resources. It's a frontier for a reason. I get that, but at the same time, I kind of disagreed with the judge on some serious things. I don't mind the idea of being a hard ass.
What other things did you disagree with that the judge was doing?
Just small things here and there. It's not that he was playing a bad character. It's just that I felt like he felt like he was the little king of the town, and I honestly felt like there was a lack of power being exerted from the mayoral office. Like
I didn't see it like that at all.
Yeah, and that's
when
okay.
He said, I know, but when he said we're trying to bring civilization to the Old West, we're trying to civilize these people and build cities and bring businesses and people, to the city, and we have to have law and order. And the only way to get people to come here and build churches and homes, like he was saying, is to have law and order. And if we don't show them that we mean what we say in the state of Oklahoma, we're going to have chaos. So basically, he wasn't just a judge. He was trying to form the state of Oklahoma. He was trying to get people to come to his state. So he was more of a judge politician, like a Judge Roy Bean. You know what I mean?
Yes, I get that.
So that's how I looked at it.
I'm having a real problem with the fact that all this was going on, and yet, like, he was the authority. He was the sole authority to make Oklahoma a state. And
they didn't have a governor yet because they weren't a state. So
they weren't a state, but there's like no mayor. There's no other person with an ounce. Like, the reason I'm saying this is that no one person should hold all the power. And it felt like he was the only person within God's country that could have made a single decision that would benefit the people within the boundaries of that county. And that was the only real issue that I had with
the other sheriff, though, the other couple sheriffs that he met when he went to go pick up, when he took a couple prisoners to this one jail, the one was asleep, the one with the bad back, whatever.
Yep.
Okay, so you saw a little of his style, laid back, kind of like, well, I know those guys. It didn't matter that they tried to hang him. It didn't even care whether it was he'd done anything. They wouldn't even listen to him. So, he needed truth and justice to be able to prove who he was. And all they had to do was get in there and do that. What is it called? Where they tap and use the phone-like thing, but it's not a phone. I can't remember what it's called. Telegraph or whatever it was. All he had to do was that to prove his truth. And when he went to the other judge, guess what? They said, we know who you are. We found out who you were. Your story is true. And this other person went and confessed. Yeah, we hung him, but we didn't look into him. We didn't look like, they didn't follow the law. So basically how many other innocent people did they murder? Just because he looked bad. Then they stole his horse, they stole his saddle, they took everything from him before they tried to kill him. So I'd rather see a judge like the one we saw that was to the law to fight for this become a state. I'd rather have that. And the two young men did rustle cattle. So for all the other teenagers is out there watching, they're watching and saying, well, these two kids stole cattle. Okay, they broke the law, and this is the punishment for it. It's not like they were 10. These were 17, 18-year-old boys.
Correct.
So the thing is, back then, a young woman could be married at 14 and be having babies. So
like the part of this movie I probably enjoyed the most is that this is a revenge film, but it's not like a super cold Bronson-esque revenge movie. Clint's character is pretty human. He's wanting to be a fair guy. He's wanting to be a good guy. And I felt he contrasted a lot of points against the judge that like was just the supreme authority within this little community. And I wasn't really a big fan of the judge. No offense, but like there's other capable adults within the town, and the town felt like it was bigger than just one man to slam the gavel down. Here's what we're going to do now. Like, I get it. You want to have civilization, but he's trying to speed run the entire thing. You don't get fast by speed running shit. You get more problems that way. And I don't agree with that. I like the idea of slow growth. I like the idea of doing things logically, smartly. You know, like where I live now, San Antonio, we've got fast growth going on, and the roads are being worked on, but they're not being worked on to keep up with everything. So it's just a cluster. Whenever the waking hours are upon you, you're going to be slow going around 211 or Highway 90 or places like that because they've tried to speed run putting all these developments in. Can't put in enough developments and car washes and mini malls, and they've fucked up everything. And there's no real need for us to have all this stuff right away because the infrastructure, like our power grid, is going to be so horked on this, and they're going to try to build these crappy solar power farms or wind plants, and they're not doing smart things like natural gas. Natural gas would fix so much, but we only have 70 miles between like serious natural gas plays and where we need it here in San Antonio proper.
Mm-hmm.
The problem I'm having with this movie isn't anything really with this movie, and it's just the fact that they wrote this judge. He wants to get a speed line set up so they can make a state quickly out of Oklahoma. I don't know if he's one of Thomas Jefferson's guys or what, but it felt like he was the only person in the world that could have made decisions to get this started. And
he did say that he was.
And I don't like that character. That's fine if that's what you want to do, but I'm not into it. I still watch Serenity and Firefly for the reasons that I don't like centralized bullshit power. And that dickhead, that guy right there, he's going to be a future Democrat. Oh, no, we got to become a state. Oh, no, we got to have a fucking ghetto for all these poor minorities coming. He's going to institute every miserable, god-awful, leftist bullshit idea as soon as he can to gather more power under his grip. And know what? No amount of change in my head is no amount of change from other people's mouths is going to affect it in my head, because in my mind, this guy is everything I don't want to see happen with the Wild West, which was Oklahoma at the time, where I-35 currently jams up outside of Tulsa. I just don't fucking like that, you know? And, you know, maybe we're going back to my favorite character out of last week's movie, but I really appreciated his little song and dance when he made it sound like he was having a parakeet sing to a sander about how he wants nothing but wilderness around. He doesn't need.
You don't have to love thy neighbor.
Yeah, I don't have to love thy neighbor. I don't want neighbors. And I really appreciate that mindset.
Mm-hmm.
I have neighbors where I live right now, but I never see them. It's great. It's great. Yes, this is it. How
Mm-hmm.
you doing? How you doing, Papa Cotton? Yeah, Texas has become the new California. It is. It's sad. We have about 10 good years where the 1980s will happen, and then the 90s will happen, and they'll start trying to ask us all to stop buying gasoline cars. And guys like me are going to start shitting all over their dreams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But
So,
I
I,
just saw a lot of I thought the and I had a really bad issue with the scene, but it did fit in the 1800s. The
yeah,
scene where the woman, the young blonde, was taking care of him, right? Trying to
mhm.
help him for whatever reason. I don't know.
Another one of those ladies that Clint Eastwood.
Well, I know, but it has nothing to do with the script. That
No,
anything is outside. I'm talking about the script. I had a hard time with a woman that is going to the jail every time they have a new people come in to look at the people to see if the people that attacked her and killed her husband um,
that
were in
showed
there,
up.
right?
Yeah.
Well, then she tells him, he tries to kiss her. He kisses her and she tells him, please, no, and he keeps trying to kiss her and she keeps saying no. And then she tells him what happened to her, that her husband was murdered in front of her and that they raped her over and over again. And then he goes in for another kiss. I'm like, what the fuck? So I didn't like that. I thought that was him being like a airhead. He wasn't paying any
I
attention to what she said.
it,
Like her feelings meant nothing because she's just a piece of meat. That's how I
well,
felt. I mean, he treated the prostitute, the one I'm kind of dressed up like, better than he treated the woman that was a real lady that was trying to help him. Because women are supposed to be submissive. And like when he grabbed the prostitute by the hand and he ran to the hotel because
mhm.
he was pissed off, uh, you know, that's what you expect when you're a prostitute. But she was a lady. She owned her own business. Um, I just thought I just didn't like that scene. That
Okay.
was the scene in the movie to me, that he went
I
in and
mean,
tried to kiss her and stuff. And then she still tries to help him when it starts pouring down rain and he starts to pass out after being shot, all those times. And then she takes him, gets him to go into, instead of putting him in the back of the wagon and riding the wagon over there. I didn't understand that part of it. She runs him to an old house, takes him in, lays him on the floor, then cuddles with him to try to keep him warm. And then when he wakes up and he goes for it again. So it's like, I don't know. I just didn't like that. I thought that really put it on me for his character, for a virtuous character that's supposed to be a lawman and righteous or whatever. But yet, the story she told him about what happened to her. Oh, well, it's just sex. That's how he looked at it. And to me, that was low.
Janet, this
What?
script is full of a lot of imperfect people.
Yeah.
I just explained to you my problem I had with one of the
Everybody are
other
bad guys.
characters in the script.
Hmm.
Say again?
I said almost everyone in it were bad guys. It
Yeah.
was all revolving around criminals, going and picking people up, taking them to there, and then them having to be judged. Because remember, you see him a couple times, a judge on the bench, and he's actually doing cases like the one guy that was drinking, and they hung him for just grabbing a woman. You know what I mean? Because he was drunk. So, or he raped her. I don't know what he did because we only got to see a very small portion of his story. But you saw a little bit of these different people that were going up there to be, and I was surprised. There was like 3 famous actors up there, all to be hung. Laura Dern's dad, the guy that asked for the chewing tobacco. I can't remember what his name was, but he was a famous actor because I recognized his face.
Pat Hingle?
I don't know.
No.
Was that Pat Hingle? I thought Pat Hingle was the judge.
Yeah, that was the judge. My bad.
So it was another person, but didn't you recognize his face?
I did.
I wish I could remember. I'm just terrible with names, but I was gonna say I can open up another page and look. But yeah, there was a lot of people up there, and I did feel sad for the boys. I really did. I felt sad. Well, I can't call them boys because they were men. I mean, they were old enough to go to war. You know what I mean? But I did feel bad for them because, just like you said, the one brother said that he threatened us that if we didn't help him, that he was going to hurt us. Blah blah blah. And but they did help Russell Cattle, and that is against the law. It's you know, you get hung for doing that. You steal horses, you steal cattle, and things like that. You get hung, and they knew that, but they that's why they had to be hung. And I agreed with the judge. You can't have. Now, he asked him. He said, "Hey, they helped me because I would have died out there when Laura Dern's dad. What's his name?
Bruce
Something
Dern.
Dern. Bruce
Bruce
Dern.
Dern.
Yeah, that's him.
This guy here is
That's the colonel or whatever guy or the captain, somebody, isn't it?
Yeah, this was Ed Begley.
Yeah, that's not the one that got hung though.
I thought
He's
thought
not
he
the
got hung.
Chewbacca guy. That's not him.
God damn it!
I'll have to
I
go
thought
through the list and see. He was the one that tried to kill him, that tried to hang him, but he's not the one that was up on the thing to be hung when Dern was up there. See right there, that guy on the very end. Who is that guy? See, in the white shirt. Is it James Westerfield?
It might be.
All I know is I recognize his face from other stuff.
Captain Wilson was Ed Begley.
Yeah, he was the one that tried to hang him. And then Alan Hale, I remember him. See, James Westerfield, go down a little more. Isn't that him? The prisoner, yeah.
Yeah.
That guy. He's the one that get the chewing tobacco and then he was spitting it out on the ground before they put the hood over him. But I recognized him as someone I'd seen in multiple movies because, my grandmother loved those kinds of movies.
Yeah. I mean, this movie's filled with some really good performances. It's got some script issues. The editing, I find the editing to be probably the biggest hiccup throughout the entire film.
They could have fixed so many things, so many little goofs by just having better editor, and the movie would have flowed better. And what do you think of the score? Because it was almost non-existent. I don't even remember really music except for the beginning and the end. So it didn't help the mood. You know what I mean? Now think if you had good music during the whole desert scene, it wouldn't have seemed so boring and drawn out. At least to me.
This movie wasn't horrible by any means,
Mm-hmm.
but
No.
like there's some editing issues and there's some sound issues in the movie that I thought were a little disturbing too. There was just some things that I wasn't expecting. But this is not Clint Eastwood's. He's not directing this film. Directed by Ted Post, and Ted, up until this point, he just died in 2013. Up until the point where he made this film, there was really like going down to see this. Okay. So up until this point, he had directed episodes of Twilight Zone, Combat, Suspense, The Travels of Jamie McFeeters, which is a Kurt Russell show. He did Rawhide, so he's got good experience.
That was a good one.
But like he's not done a lot of movies. So I don't think he's really used to a big budget yet. And this movie had $1 million to fuck with. It made $10 million nationwide, and $10 million worldwide, because it made like $7 million here in the States and another $3 million overseas. But this film had like real power when it came to like exponential money making, and everybody wanted to see what Clint Eastwood could do. The fact that he was not used to what capability. Like he seriously, I don't think he was used to the budget, the scope. I don't think he was really expecting that. And this movie feels like it's almost too big for this director because the editing gets out of hand, the score, the music could have been more of a spot filler. It could have helped out some of the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
There's none. It's only the beginning and now. Granted, what you get at the beginning and the end of the movie is really good, But after the credits roll, that's it. It's over for the next hour and 50
And you
minutes.
didn't notice it. You didn't really notice it until it got to a lull in dialogue and in what was going on in the scene. That's when you went. They should be playing some music to build you up, to get you excited about what's about to happen, or sad, that something bad did happen. You know what I mean? That's what music's supposed to do. It's supposed to help your emotions flow through the movie. And yet there was so many lulls because there wasn't anything. It was like very boring in some spots. It seemed
in some spots, the movie's hard to watch because there's nothing going on.
Mhm.
You just see people thinking about things, and there's
Yeah.
no pondering. There's nothing else other than the pondering looks on their faces, and it reminds me of a early to mid '50s movie, because to me that's what this director made. He made a TV show that just so happened to be shown in theaters. Now, aside from that and the small editing issues, I thought this movie was done fairly well, especially for its time. It conveys a lot. I love Clint Eastwood's character in this movie. I like the fact that he's trying to be a voice of rationale and of balance. He's not really wanting to let this judge run over him, and he's certainly not wanting to let that happen to those things around him that he can affect. I feel he's the one part of the film that really surprised me, because this movie could have been Bronson. This movie could have been all fucking Chuck Bronson. Look out, you didn't kill me right the first time, so I'm going to kill you all dead now. And fucking just Canon Films before Canon Films became a thing. This movie could have been the coldest, most bloody, disgusting film. And then at the very end, let's just have 6 of these people get hung up for all the kids. Come on, let the schools
How
out.
many movies have the director made before he made this movie?
I don't know. It looked like he'd done. This was his
couple.
first.
Really, this was his first, because there was a lot of factual errors, and then there was a lot of continuity problems. Now, see, the continuity doesn't always have anything to do with the director. Okay, those continuity things could be fixed by refilming it a section or by editing. Okay,
True.
but when you go ahead.
Okay, this was made in 1967 and then put to film in 68. You and I are talking like two people that are stuck in 2026, and we think that editing is just something that you can naturally just go in and delete, backspace, and it fixes it. But back in the day, if they were editing a script, you'd have whiteout spilled on the paper, you'd have to feed it back through the Royal typewriter, you have to do all these things.
So there weren't any good movies in the 1960s? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
No. There's not a way for them to seriously go back instantaneously, double check. No, there's not. They don't have smartphones.
It doesn't matter. They made movies with actual, paper and pen, and they had people walking across to put makeup on people. They actually did stuff back then. Yes. And there were other movies that didn't make these type of mistakes because the people did their jobs. Okay, totally different. So yes, I think that they could have fixed a lot of these things. I think these things were done because the director wasn't on it like he should have been, to make sure they were doing their jobs. Like with the continuity, when a person goes in and you give them a handbag and a cup, and they put the handbag on their shoulder and they have a drink and they're walking through the scene and they talk to the main character, and then they walk off, and then later on they say, oh, we got to redo this scene because so-and-so forgot their line or whatever. So then that person comes in. Now this time she puts this on her shoulder like this and has her cup in the other hand, and then she's walking across. So now you can't edit anything together because there's the cups and nothing matches. That's why continuity is important. And I saw multiple times in this movie that 1 minute his pants are wet and the next minute his pants are dry. 1 minute the guy has a beard this long, and then the next thing he's clean shaven. That is huge problems, and you can't edit that out. I'm
not saying that you can't edit that out. You can reshoot it, and that's about it. But the problem is that this is Valparaiso's first film, named after the creek that goes through his property, Clint Eastwood's
spending some of that capital he got from the Dollars trilogy. Secondly, this is not a society that has all the answers on their smartphone. This is 1967, where
Yeah.
like if you want to go
So
find a
how long
fact,
have they been making movies?
you're going to go to the fucking library. You're going to go check through history books. You're going to call up a friend that works at the school, a history teacher maybe, and be like, "Hey, I got a question for you." The thing is that they've made plenty of really good, accurate movies up until this point. This is the first film out of Clint Eastwood's new studio. Okay, this is not
Mhm.
a experienced group of people. These are people that are like, hey, Clint's got this idea that we're going to make movies and we're going to do movies the way he wants to do. Fuck MGM, fuck Paramount. Let's
Mhm.
do it Clint's way. And this is their first time flexing their muscle, and they got some things wrong. Editing, facts, it happens. That happens. We get it. I'm not going to hold them to task too hard because the fact they were able to make this movie under the fucking budget of $2 million, I thought
Mhm.
that's pretty good. I
Yeah,
thought
it
that
is
was
pretty
actually
good.
really good.
It because when you look at the scenes, the above scenes in the town, okay, you see a nice town with grass, real grass and stuff in certain areas, and you see all these people, lots and lots of extras, all dressed in really nice clothes that fit the time. I didn't really see any tennis shoes or t-shirts and things like that. I did see a couple vehicles in the background, like a white pickup truck driving down the road,
Yes.
and a few
Yes.
things like that at certain areas, but far off in the distance. I mean, basically, you'd have to be looking for it, which is what you and I were basically doing, looking for stuff like that. But the up front stuff, they did pretty good. I mean, they did pretty good on the town when they built it. When they did stuff with the cattle, like when they got the cows to lay down on the ground like that. It looked like the same cow, but it was just turned a different way. When they did the second scene, when they looked up on the cliff and you heard the mooing, you know what I mean? When
Mhm.
you found Bruce Dern up there because they just rustled all these cattle, and they ran them down till they just died. They fell over dead, which can happen to horses and stuff too. But it just seemed like a few of the people that were supposed to do certain jobs, like the person that's supposed to make sure that they have the scripts printed out for each day. Okay, like what scenes are going to film. They might be filming one scene over there, second crew will be over there doing something else, and then you have a couple stunts that are going to be done, and all that's printed out on their own little scripts for those scenes, and that's given to the actors so they're ready. Props are ready, costumes, whatever. And that's basically, you've got it all broke down. And that's why they have storyboards and all that. And they still do that. They may do it with AI now, but guess what? When the director's sitting there, he looks over and there's a storyboard. He knows where they're at and what they're supposed to be doing next. Then he can go into the little thing, look at the camera, and he can look through it and know what's going to be on camera and what isn't. Because when he goes out, he can see everything, but he's holding his hand up looking because he knows what he wants in the frame when he films. So and then you have the lighting people and you have the sound people. There's hundreds of people, so I understand that. But each person that's hired by the company that hired the director, and the director always has final say, so it all falls back on him. If he just decides he's going to go home and drink for the day and not be there and let the second in charge do the whatever, it's still his fault that he didn't show up for work. We've seen that a few times where they were having a few too many and they were sleeping in their trailer and stuff. They weren't out there doing the job. Or you had somebody that was brought in to sabotage the movie and put in a bad editor or steal money or move props around or make sure that certain things didn't work properly, that kind of stuff to try to sabotage. So could be in a lot of different things. But what I saw was just a little bit of laziness. Like they just figured, it doesn't matter. You see what I mean? A couple of people, one or two people on a whole film that just go, you know, I'm his best friend, or he's sleeping with me, so I can do whatever the hell I want. I can be drunk and smoke some pot or whatever, and my stuff's lacking, but he's not going to fire me because I'm his head babe or whatever. Whatever the reason is behind it, the whole movie suffers when one person doesn't do their job. It's like the continuity lady. or the guy that's supposed to make sure that when he's watching the scene, he sees what they have. That's why they take pictures, or they have a sketch person drawing each person and what they're wearing. Where is this cut? Where is that cut? Where is this cut? So the next scene, when they have to refilm it, they said that it melted, in the heat, the whole roll of film. So they got to refilm all this stuff. Well, guess what? How are they going to know to edit this, that, and the other? Because they make it in sections. It's not all filmed like in one whole long stream. So they do it in sections, and then the editors put it together. Well, if you got boo-boos here and there, and then next time they make it, the boo-boos are all different places, you can't edit it together. It looks stupid. Like in that one scene in the house when she dragged him in, you see her lay the blanket, which is checkered, right? The checkered big blanket. She laid it over him and tucked him all in. And then she went over, shut the door with the chair. And then when you look at him, he doesn't have his legs covered now because something happened in between where they took a lunch break or something. And when he got back and he put the blanket on, the continuity person didn't make sure the blanket was covering them like it was when they got up and left the scene. That little stuff like that can ruin a picture just because somebody's being lazy. And it could have been the girlfriend of the director that ended up being the continuity girl. Look at me, I'm going to have my name on the script. Whatever. I don't know who did it. I'm just saying I saw multiple things that were goofs or how many times have you watched a movie and seen the microphone pop into the top of the dill or drop down, stuff like that?
Janet, one of my favorite movies of all time does that. Granted, it's a comedy called Black Dynamite, and the director is doing this because it's in the script for the boom mic to be visible, but the actor plays it off kind of perfectly. It's one of the best parts of the first act of that movie. Black Dynamite, will be watching that next February.
Well, I'm just trying to prove my point about why it's important that when you hire a person, that all of you are together on what we want for this movie. Just like I've gone over and over that one movie you got me to watch about all the friends that wanted to make this movie about being gamers, right? Darkness Rising. And all of them, even though they weren't the best at everything, you could see the love in this movie because they all wanted it to be made and they all cared about each of their parts to put the movie together. And there wasn't that many mistakes in that movie compared to this one for continuity. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. If you love what you're doing and you want to see it be successful, you're going to put everything you have into it, just like you do your job. Do you go to work and just say, "Oh, who cares if I empty the whole thing? Who gives a shit? How long are you going to have a job?
Hold on.
Wait a minute. How long are you going to keep your job?
There are some days where one must go have a fresh air treatment, have a long exhale. I got to do this job right. If I don't do this job right, it's going to cause me problems later this week. I don't want problems this week. And I gotta fucking do it right. And if I don't do it right, I have a discussion with the boss. Or his wife talks to me. And I'd rather get punched by a 400-pound dude made of solid steroids and anger than have to talk to his wife.
Yeah. I'm just saying, if you go to work every day and you don't try to do your job, what they hired you to do, you just half-ass do it every day, you're not going to have a job for very long. And in the movie industry, if you make a movie and it's shit, okay, after a few films, you're probably not going to get any more directing jobs because you are blamed for all of what's going on, right? But if you're in the movie and you're a boom operator or you're a makeup person or a hair person, and every time you do someone's hair, it gets fucked up, you're not going to get hired for the next film, okay? Because you're shit. You're not worth paying money to make your film look like shit, unless you're going to be in a horror movie or whatever it is, depending on that stuff. But I'm just saying, you shouldn't keep getting hired if you can't do the job properly, and if you don't care about the project, it's going to be shit. That movie that I absolutely hate, I could tell that there was very few people that worked on that movie that gave a fuck about whether it made any money, because they already
Willy's
had
Wonderland.
they already had their money, so they didn't give a shit.
Make sure you guys blot out Willy's Wonderland on your bingo card if you haven't already.
Oh,
It
it's
took
terrible,
us.
but
It took us
that's what I'm
45
talking
minutes.
about. That's a bad movie. This one is good, but it's not as good as some of the others that I've seen so far since we've been watching them. And I hadn't seen this one before, so I had hopes that it was going to, each time I watched one, it was going to get a little bit better as he's going along. Now, Clint did a good job, for the character that he played, and I thought most of the characters did a good job. You had a few assholes that went above and beyond being assholes, but I didn't think Dern was as good as the guy that was in the movie for a few dollars more.
I'm going to just hate on Bruce Dern for a little bit. Bruce Dern is overrated as fuck. Okay, he's you know how Bear doesn't like Harlan Edison or Fred Williamson or a bunch of other like luminaries that are
Not really. I don't know who those people are.
Me and Bear have talked about things that irritate us about modern cinema and up to modern cinema. And I talk about Harlan Edison because he had the original story, the sci-fi story where the robots took over, and that was the basis for Terminator, which is one of the reasons why I believe that you faggots that are embracing AI, that John Connor's looking down on us from heaven, frowning because you're a fucking idiot. And if you are one of these people that thinks AI is a solution to everything, you're the fucking problem, and you're going to be the reason why your grandmother gets hit by a Waymo taxi. Because you said, oh yeah, we need these in everywhere. We need all of these, because I can't have a Uber driver that smokes crack or falls asleep on me. No, I need a fucking AI car instead to run over my grandmother because of a glitch in the fucking matrix. And instead of it coming to a stop and putting on the e-brake and the flashing hazard lights, no, it's going to continue on at 60 miles per hour through a downtown area, running over your grandmother. She comes out of a fucking, ethnic fucking grocer because you're an idiot. You thought AI was good. It was a solution. No, fuck you. Fuck you, you dumb fucking Americans, you dumbass people that won't drive anything else but a fucking automatic vehicle, and you run immediately to Facebook the first time you hear somebody say a gamer word. Cancel this guy.
Well, I know a lot of people like it, but see, to me, I don't really have that much of a problem with AI as long as it's used as a tool. I mean, it really isn't very smart. A couple of times, like after Sandy got hacked, right? We've been trying to get Grok, at first we did, to get Grok to help her, to tell her, okay, Grok runs basically X. So who better to tell us how to get someone to help you hack your X, to get some real help to get your thing back, right? It couldn't even give her any answers. It told her she had to start a new account and pay for premium membership to get a real person. And when she did it, they still wouldn't give her a real person. So Grok doesn't even know what he's doing. And he's supposed to be the best AI there is. Well, he sucks. So AI is only as good as the people that are telling it what to do. And if you don't even have real people telling it what to do, you can't even ask questions. And it's not very good. It's not very useful. So, I'm just saying, it's not AI. I don't see AI taking over the world or anything, at least not right away, because it's not very smart. It stinks. If you think about it. Are you all right?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. I'm getting me a drink.
So I'm just saying that, yeah, this movie's got problems. It's not the world's worst movie by any stretch, and it's probably not even the worst movie that Clint Eastwood's been in. We haven't gotten there yet.
Well, I can tell you one right now I know is worse.
Which one are
the
you
one
going to talk
with the monkey, any way, which way, or whatever.
any which way you can, or any which way you can, but loose.
Both of those. I didn't like either one of them. But they were okay. They were like, they were just not very good to me. So, but this was better than that. Those movies
Yeah.
to me. But I was gonna go through all my things and tell you some more things that I
No,
found.
no, go ahead, Janet. We're not done ripping into the editing yet.
Well, I mean, it's not just editing. I just found a lot of, continuity, mostly continuity. The continuity was worse than editing. And the bad thing about that is you can't edit it together or it's gonna look like you flipped them. You know what I mean? Have you ever seen where a person makes a video and then all of a sudden they make another video and their shirt's backwards, and then another time it's straight and then it's backwards? It's because when they edit it, they try to put 2 or 3 different videos together that weren't edited first. See what I mean?
Yes.
So if you have a ponytail on one side of your head, okay, let's say, because I've seen girls do that with the one ponytail, and then you're talking and doing whatever, and then you edit your video, and then you have it, your ponytail's on this side, and all of a sudden it's on this side. Now it's on this side, back and forth while she's talking. It's because she's been editing and splicing it together, and it doesn't go together because she didn't make sure that for continuity purposes that everything lined up. So when you edit it, it would work. So I don't know. I have a hard time with editing and continuity. Those are like two things that I can't help but notice. If you see someone drinking something like me, I pick this up and you can hear the ice and stuff, and it's almost half full, so it's got weight. But if you see someone in some commercial and they pick up a cup and they act like, and they tilt it and they look at their watch or whatever, and you can tell there's nothing in it, it kind of takes away from, oh, it's a coffee commercial. You see what I mean? Or a soda pop or whatever it is. So it's important, if you make it as realistic as possible, put a little beads of water on it to make it look like it's cool, cool, and or hot, with steam coming up. I don't know. I'm just saying that's why it's important to be as realistic as you possibly can, and to follow the script supervisor. She's trying to tell you, or they're trying to tell you, this is what is in the script and this is what you're supposed to say. So when you see someone running, okay, and they fall in a certain place, or they fall a certain way, they have to fall the same way each time. They can't fall like this and then roll down the hill next time, and do all different, or lose her flip-flops, or wear, one day she wore pink shoes and then when they asked her to come back she wears red shoes. You see, I've had to do that where I was in a couple scenes and they said, well, you have to come back in a week because we got to redo that scene and to bring the same stuff that you had in that. And then have a photo, so when you put it on, they make sure your hair is the same. It takes effort to make it flawless, where it flows. And when you're watching a movie that has all the right things in it, you don't notice the mistakes because there aren't any. It's flowing like it's supposed to. You're enjoying the music, you're enjoying the acting, the costumes, the scenery. You're just taken aback by the movie because, damn, it's a good movie. You know what I mean? You're not going to say, oh, it was so boring in that one spot. You're not going to notice those things because everybody worked together to make sure the movie worked like that. And that's what makes a good movie, is everybody doing their jobs. And it's sad to me that I was looking forward to it, but it was hard especially when you see that many different mistakes in it.
Yeah. Janet was wrong when she said Any Which Way You Can, or Any Which Way But You Can But Loose is a bad movie. Those are animal movie classics, comparable to Old Yeller or Incredible Journey. Janet does not know that what she talks about. It's okay, kids. The worst movie that Clint Eastwood ever was in was called Firefox, which is not about your browser, but
I haven't seen that one.
it's about Clint Eastwood going to Russia, learning Russian first, and then going into Russia during the Cold War, into a hangar with the Russian Air Force, stealing a jet of theirs that back in the 1980s, you thought, oh, wow, it's futuristic. It looks cool. It's got ramjet technology in it. That's awesome. And now I look at it and all I hear is, hey, your plane's gay.
Because he has canards. And for those of you that watch Habitual Line Crosser, you know I'm referencing the kid, the F-22, but he makes fun of any jet that's got canards, and the canards make everything gay in his opinion, which even submarines are gay because they have canards. No, you fucker, those are ailerons. That's the only way you control the depth of the submarine.
Can I say something about the chat? Lloyd Christmas is talking about me not liking orangutans. That's not true. One of my favorite characters in the Planet of the Apes was the orangutan. So I do love orangutans, just not. They weren't enough to save those two movies. So I'll just put it that way.
I think the real detriment to those movies is Sandra Locke.
Maybe I've even told you that I didn't like her in either one of those movies. So she had a lot to do with it.
I mean, I'm just saying, like most movies that she's in, I'm gonna probably try my best to ignore those scenes with her in it. Although that was like the focus of him. Clint was a man like many others.
Side by side, Shelley Long and her next to each other. I swear they were related because they act about the same. They look a lot alike, and they're both just not very good at acting. You know what I mean? So
now, Janet, you're starting to tread on some sacred ground there because Shelley Long was in the greatest caveman movie.
I know. I love Caveman. And I told you she did a good job, and that was the best movie she ever made.
That was the best time she ever spent in front of the camera. We both agree.
And I told you that already, so you already knew that. But
yeah, but
look at them though, and other things that they're in. Can you see that much difference between either one of them and their acting ability and the way they project themselves and stuff? I can't. I mean, honestly, I'm trying to be honest about that. I don't see that much difference. So I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just saying, you know, you asked my opinion. It's on you.
Janet's being a meanie. She's no longer a cutie patootie. Those of you in Jersey, take her off the cutie patootie list.
Oh,
I'm just saying that like you're just running through all of our icons. You know, like first off, you know, Any Which Way You Can. You know that's a terrible movie. Like how dare you?
I haven't seen that one. Which one's the first one?
The first one, I don't know. Any Which Way You Can, I think.
I don't know. I thought it was Any Which Way But Loose.
I thought But Loose is a sequel.
I don't know. Whichever one, I saw the very first one, and then I only saw bits and pieces of the second one, and I never watched the whole thing because I didn't think it was any better than the first one. So that's all I can say.
Yeah,
it was okay.
Funny. It's funny how children of the 80s and 70s perceive Clint Eastwood films because Janet had seen better Clint Eastwood films at the time, and me being 7 years old, I thought this is high art. There's no way that life could really get better than having an orangutan riding around with a pickup truck with you, or a semi truck. Life is really good. You've won. You know, this is the apex. This is better than having your entire basement dedicated to an HO scale layout that's fully decorated.
And the orangutan was adorable.
Yeah, the orangutan was great. It's just the fact that you're ripping it up. You're ripping up the movie that I loved. I thought that was a really.
I know. I'm sorry. It was okay. It wasn't the worst movie I've ever seen.
7 years old.
Wasn't very good.
Janet, when I'm 7 years old, I'm not exactly a movie reviewer. I'm somebody who wants to go watch Delta Force.
You're not 7 now. You're not 7 now, and I'm not 7.
But when I was 7, I thought Megaforce was going to be a good movie. When I was 7, I thought Chuck Norris was really a military guy because I never saw him outside of the military films he did. I always thought he was military because I just saw the adverts for Invasion USA and Delta Force. When I first saw Lone Wolf McQuade, I never thought that was really a Chuck Norris movie. Did he do that while he was on vacation? My cousin says they get a month of vacation in the Army. Did he do that on vacation? And I honestly thought that Chuck Norris was a military guy. Like the entire time he was making movies, he was in the military making movies. And I thought that because that's what your perception is. when you live out in the country away from everybody and everything else, and your mom doesn't have the answers to everything you want because she's busy hoping you get your reading, writing, and arithmetic down, and you're there trying to figure out if it's really true that the Battle of the Planets is not a historical document that was put on cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, kids. This is where some confusion erupted in Bruce's life. Like, wait, everything on TV is not real? What? Chuck Norris is in Hang 'em High? No, if it would have been a much better movie had he been in Hang 'em High. They would have put him on guard duty at the editor's room. If they fuck up, Chuck Norris him, and then you would have heard somebody getting roundhouse kicked.
You got to remember, the editing doesn't start till all the other stuff's done. Now, if the editing is doing something, they find a huge mess up, they will contact the other people and say, hey, you're gonna have to refilm this because this got damaged or we lost something or whatever. So that's why continuity is so important, so that you can go back and fix that and edit it in, clip here, stick it in, and guess what? It's fixed. But you can't if the editing can't be fixed because continuity is all fucked up. See what I mean? Yeah. They all go together. Or if you have a whole soundtrack is fucked up, you got to do the whole sound again. Stuff like that. I mean, it's just so many people involved in making a movie, and if they all don't do their best, it causes problems for the other departments.
I didn't have a lot of problems with this movie. I recognize some things are just because people are new in their positions. More than likely, he did not bring a whole lot of people from his previous work into this.
Can we look at a few things?
What?
Can we look at a couple little things on the website?
Yeah, go ahead. Do you want me to share them, or do you want to share them?
No, I would have to go and open the website and all that. But the thing is, don't you already have it open?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. Well, then don't worry about it.
Like, I'm pretty certain between Hang 'em High and Rawhide, there's probably about 5 or 10 people that share a commonality between that, aside from Clint and Mr. Post, the director. Mm-hmm. But this movie is the first effort. This is the first effort of his film creation studio. That he probably has a very nice garage made. That he probably has, some people he wanted to put to work, because he said, if I ever make it, I'm gonna scratch your back. I got you. I bet there's probably about 10 people, but then the rest of it, all the heavy hitting jobs that he really needs fulfilled, he doesn't deal with those because he's been an actor, and now he's starting to get into his line of producing, and he probably really enjoyed it because he kept on directing and being behind the camera a lot in his future endeavors. This movie is the first.
The reason I think that he ended up going more and more and more into producing and directing is because once you are an actor and you see a couple of your movies that you didn't think were very good, right? And you're thinking, man, what's his name? The one who keeps going in and trying to fix stuff and making it worse. That actor, I can't remember what his name is.
Kevin Costner?
Yeah, Kevin Costner. Okay, well, let's use him as an example. He does a movie, okay, and then he doesn't like the way he supposedly his character came out or some of the lines that were put in. So when he makes another contract for his next movie, he says, I have to be able to change my lines if I don't think they fit the character that I'm portraying. And he probably gets that, okay, because he's a big guy, whatever. The thing is that just because he thinks it's better doesn't necessarily mean it is. You see what I mean? So once you get a head that's so big that you don't listen to anybody else, okay, that's when your movies are bad. But if you're a person like Ron Howard, okay, and you talk to your people, okay, about who you're going to hire in, and you show them, this is what we want. This is what we want the movie. I want this script. They have a meeting, okay, and they all sit around and talk about what they want the movie to accomplish, or what they want the outcome to be. right? And he wants to make sure everybody, the heads of all the departments, are all in agreement. We want it to be successful. We want this character arc to do this. We want this, you see what I mean? They're discussing things. And I guarantee you, if you ever get to work on a set with Clint Eastwood, he does that. He wants to make sure all his people over this time period that they all are in agreement of what they want the outcome to be. And that's why almost every one of his movies gets better and better and better and better, because he learns from his mistakes. And what happens is, just because you hire someone, just what did I say is one of the worst things that I think ruins movies? You got a whole movie, you got everything laid out, the continuity people, they got the little scripts cut out, and everybody's got their parts. And then here comes a producer or a higher up producer. He brings in his wife and their 2 kids and his mother-in-law, and he goes, I want them in a scene.
That's called nepotism.
Okay, but the thing is, everyone's scrambling around to rearrange everything and take actors that were hired to do certain parts and put these people in, or they'll put the kids in as 2 sick kids in wheelchairs or whatever. But everything has to be moved around to fit in a producer that's paying cash to get the thing going, and they have to fit them in because they're playing nicety nice. You see what I mean? Instead of thinking about what's the outcome of me putting this person in here and that person in there and this and that, and they start putting more and more people in because they got away with that time. Even a TV series, over time, you could start seeing, geez, there's so many unneeded things in this movie, and it ruins it. Okay. So that's what happens. So when you have a director that says, this is the rules, and everyone follows them because the director is always right, guess what? That kind of shit doesn't happen. You see what I mean? So when you have a good director that loves what he's making, or her, what they're making, and they want to see it, and all the heads to the departments all agree, guess what? You're gonna have a good movie. And you and I have many times sat and got done and said, damn, that was good, because you could tell that I getting goosebumps thinking about it, because every department wanted to be the best they could. American Werewolf in London, for one, okay? When the director saw the script, when he read it, he knew already who he wanted to do the makeup stuff. And no matter what happened, he wanted that guy to be his creature guy, right? And look what happened. He fought for what he believed in was going to make the movie successful. And guess what happened? It was successful. See, that's what I'm talking about. And a director is in charge of that. He's the one that's got to fight for what he believes in, saying, if you want me to direct it, this is what I want. He's not going to say, whatever, just give me whoever. Then you end up with a movie that's not going to be very good. So that's all I'm saying, is that it's sad to me. But Clint Eastwood, if he was in charge of any of this stuff, then he must have not been very good at knowing what he was supposed to get yet. But you could tell, and as he's gone along, that his movies got better and better, especially the ones he was in behind the screen, behind the scenes. He was more careful about the people he chose for the different jobs, because you have to have people that care about what they're doing in all the different positions, or it's just not going to be very good, because you can't put it together when everybody's all on different levels, or you have 4 directors. You see what I mean? We've seen that too, and it's not good. That's all I'm saying. I'm sorry if I went on a tangent.
You're fine. I'm not having a problem here. This movie was a challenging movie to produce. It was definitely not smooth.
Mm-hmm.
There's some things about it that are really good. A lot of stuff that's going on behind the scenes. Clint Eastwood probably could have paid more attention, since this is his movie studio that's making it. He could have paid more attention to behind the scenes stuff going on, but instead, like kind of what's been etched already into history, he decides to dip his dick in the co-star, Inger Stevens. And Inger at the time is, she's not very well broadcasting that she's married. In fact, she's separated from her husband at the time. They don't really talk about it because he's black. And so nobody knew about the fact that she was married until like the 70s. And she died just a couple of years later, I think in 1970. And she died from barbiturates overdose, pills, whatever. The poor girl, like she was just trying to find happiness in life, and obviously one thing failed and another thing failed and another thing failed, and eventually what happened was she did this movie, was expecting more with Clint Eastwood, just like the last girl that was with Clint Eastwood on the movie before this. uh, he doesn't really do much with her after the movie's completed. He's kind of got that Bridget Nelson shit going on where I'll fuck you during production, but as soon as they wrap it, as soon as my shit gets moved out of the trailer into my car and I'm trucking it back home, you're in the dust, baby. It's over.
It happens on every single set. I don't care if it's TV, music videos, or whatever. You're going to have somebody trying to hit on somebody and hook up with somebody. Okay. Now, if you're, and I've seen many young women that are starstruck because they're seeing this person. Oh, I get to meet so and so. And I'm like, don't go back to their room. Don't go do this. I try to tell them, don't do it, because it'll be a one night. It's all it's going to be. You're never going to see them again. You'll probably never be hired on their sets again because they don't want to see you again. So if you want to hurt your career, don't sleep with these people or sleep with them. Sleep with everybody because you're never going to work with any of them again. So there's just a lot of stuff because guess that's what they do, especially if the actors are married. If they're married to other people, they definitely don't want the young bimbo that was bopping in the back room on the next set. You see what I mean? So it just hurts people. And I really just don't, I just wish people didn't do that stuff. It really does hurt people. And especially if they're a young, brand new actress that just came, let's say they're just now coming off of a movie they did or a TV show, and it was a huge hit. And then all of a sudden they're pushed into starlight, right? They're, people are going, oh, look, and they're all recognizing them and stuff. They're excited. And then they get picked for another movie with some huge star as their, to work across with. And that person sweeps them under the bed, sheets or whatever. And then after the movie's over, they get dumped. And somebody who cares about that young actress should tell her, he's going to dump your ass. He's not in love with you. He's just playing with you because it looks good. It makes the chemistry look good. And when the movie's over, he's going to dump you and go for the next woman. So, have some respect for yourself and demand to be treated with respect. And I just think, a lot more people would be happier and less drugs and alcohol be going on if people actually, worked on their acting instead of whether they're going to jump the bones of whoever else, the set lady or the person doing their hair or picking out their clothes. It's just sad. It's just sad to see all that kind of stupid shit ruined.
I mean, Clint's like 38 when this movie is being filmed. Mm-hmm. So he's not exactly a young buck. He's not exactly.
She wasn't she?
No, she's around 38. She's about the same age.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah. Well, but she was new to the movies, though, wasn't she?
Or not? I don't think so. I think she'd been a star.
Then she deserves what she got. If she's been in there as long as him, she should already know that more than likely he's just going to dump her ass. So either she thought that she would dump him first or whatever. I don't know. So I can't blame him for it.
I'm just gonna say that, like, there was a period of time where Clint was not in the States, so he's not in the dating pool of Hollywood. He's not fucking somebody's daughter out of Paramount. He's over in Spain golfing on his time off from the Dollars trilogy. Mm-hmm. He's doing stuff like that, and so he's not in circulation here. When he gets back here, the first person he's with is the fucking co-star of Paint Your Wagon. And that lasted as long as the shoot did. And then after that was over, it was over. And that poor lady, she committed suicide because she thought that, things would turn out different. And sorry, it turned out this way. And then afterwards, he's got Ingers and he's with her for a little bit. I mean, there was a lot of really pretty women that Clint's been inside. He's got like 9 kids. The guy's a legend in Hollywood for a reason. He's a very good actor. He's probably, if he decided to take a little bit of that knowledge about dating life and decide to be a child psychologist or a young man psychologist or a mentor, like, hey, listen, let me tell you what's
good for a man's, soul and what's bad for a man's soul, probably shouldn't be fucking everybody you work with, more than likely. But in the work that he's doing, where he has to be convincing that he really likes this person on screen, more than likely, there should be like a little agreement, like, hey, listen, we're going to be working together pretty closely. It might be good if we have a fling, it might be great if we have a fling. And then afterwards, you go back to your life and I go back to mine. If they've got an open convenience like that, that might have actually caused some of those girls he did this with to have more repeat shots with him in later films. But it didn't happen. And unfortunately, the one he stuck with, Sandra, is the one that you and I cannot stand at all. In fact, I don't know many people that actually enjoy Sandra Locke as an actress.
But you know what? She might have been one of the ones that actually stood up to him. See what I mean? Sometimes a director likes okay, because I can tell you right now, when Kurt Russell worked with Carpenter, right? He didn't always just kiss his ass. They both talked about what they felt was best for the movie. And they talked to each other that way. They treated each other as equals, and they talked to each other with respect. And guess what? When you do that with your director or your producers, you get asked to come back because they know that you're professional and that you want the same goal as they do. Just like I was saying, if you're just on there and you're drinking, you're partying, and having fun, and you're screwing everyone, more than likely you're not going to get asked to come back again because you're not a person that they feel is going to help them in their next venture. It's just not something that is high quality. Now, if you're going to be in a movie like, or I mean, a music video where you're showing your boobs or your ass and stuff like that, I guess it doesn't really matter that much, about any of the other stuff. But if you're going to talk about, well, I feel this is best for this part or whatever, and you're professional about it and not a bitch or a dick about it, you're more than likely going to get, asked to come back. And to me, that makes perfect sense, because I can tell you right now, if I had written something or I was paying money to get someone to do my script or whatever, I would want people that wanted it to be successful. You know what I'm saying? So, I can understand that. I mean, look at Chris Pratt, and there's lots of other actors and actresses that you never hear shit about because they go there, they do their job, and then they go home because that's what they're paid to do, a certain thing, and they go and they do that. And the scandalous stuff, it almost always ends up the same way. They always end up being dried up old nobodies, guys and women. So, I really feel bad about it, but
Hold on. I have to say hello to our friend Vince. How you doing, sir? Good to see you, Mr. Flatey.
Hi, Flatey.
Yeah, play Misty for me. We're going to be doing that in a couple of weeks, I think.
Which one?
Not next
Play
week.
Misty for me, yeah.
That's a great.
That's one I asked to put on the list. I got a couple in there. Paint Your Wagon. I'm so thankful. And I told you the whole time before we started watching. Thank you so much. I was so excited to get to do it. And I know a few people like, Hardwick didn't really like it, but I can't help it. It's so nostalgic for me because it was a movie that my grandparents loved and my mom liked. So it just made me feel really good that
This
you
is a
did
reminder.
that. Whoops.
Take the trash out.
I gotta take the trash out. Sorry.
This is a reminder.
This is the part about you where I'm like, oh, she has AI in her house. No, can't have it.
Oh, well, can't help it. It sure helps me. It tells me when someone's at my door when I'm back here in my office, and I wouldn't be able to know that anyone was out there. That's what I said. If you use it as a tool, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, we are in the year 2026. We have astronauts right now that are about to circle the moon. So, I mean, I think AI is part of reality in the world.
Sad. I'm very sad I'm not seeing anything being broadcast from the dark side of the moon. I would stop this podcast right now and broadcast.
How do you know that's exactly where they're at?
they're not showing us it. That's the problem that I'm having. I want to see it. There's been
Well, maybe they want to make some money. Maybe they want to say, hey, when we're done, we're going to put a documentary together. We would like you to buy tickets or something. I don't know. Why don't you ask? Ask NASA. Why aren't they filming it?
waiting on an answer. Is it really a NASA flight, or is it more of
No, it's NASA. It's NASA.
Okay.
It's not Elon Musk.
I'm
And
surprised.
it's not the other guy, the Oracle guy. I can't remember what his name is.
Branson?
Bezos or whatever.
Bezos is Amazon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It's not
Bezos, Branson, Bezos, Musk are all three in love with space flight. All three of them want to be the pioneers to take us to Mars first.
Well, hopefully someone will. I hope I'm alive. It happens.
What? So we can put ghettos on Mars too? I'm good.
Well, I would love to have been an astronaut of some sort or something, but I get seasick and air sickness, motion sickness, so I would not be a good candidate. So they wouldn't invest money in me.
So our discussion, we've got. Oh, chat, if you guys have seen this movie, Hang 'em High, before, put your scores in the chat. I'll have Janet read it to you.
Okay.
We have we've seen Where Eagles Dare. We're not going to do a revisit of that.
Mm-hmm.
But the question is do we review every Clint Eastwood major starring role from the Dollar Trilogy all the way up to modern day? Or do you want us to just cap it at 20? Because this is week number 5 of Clint Eastwood appreciation.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm okay with watching every Clint Eastwood movie.
It's your channel. It's your show. You could do.
Yeah, but I do want to listen to my chat as much as my other gaming group does not want me to.
Post it on your channel. Do a post and ask, how many movies do you want to do?
I love this. I love Lee Marvin. He's such a good actor. Okay.
I just loved that movie. It was so good. They looked like they had fun. They looked like they enjoyed themselves. It was just a fun movie, I felt. Even though it was a musical, I was really biting my nails going, God, Bruce is going to hate this. But I'm so thankful that you watched it because I'm really happy that you watched it because I wanted to see it.
I'm going to watch it because it's a Clint Eastwood film. Mm-hmm. There's very little there's very little overlap where other Clint Eastwood movies would be where Paint Your Wagon's at. I think that's one of the few musicals he did, maybe the only musical he did. But Clint Eastwood is a versatile actor, but he really does his best work with a character that's masculine. He does not do well with a passive, mealy-mouthed individual that's like one of these schlups on a modern TV show. He would not go good with the Big Bang Theory crowd.
Mm-mm.
You never heard Clint Eastwood's name on Big Bang Theory for the 9 seasons it was on TV. He was a non-entity in the expanded universe. The most masculine guy they had was James Earl Jones, who scolded his son for 3 movies. I'm not going to get into any more discussion about Big Bang Theory, but I'm just going to say that Clint Eastwood tried a lot of different types of roles in his movies. He was very much not typecast, but he did his best work when he was somebody who could be masculine.
Mm-hmm. Well, do you want me to read? I see a one in the chat. Do you want me to read it?
Go ahead.
It says, it was a decent film and Clint's first American lead. With all of its warts, I give it a 70 out of 100. I'd say do the Dirty Harry series at least. That's iconic. Eastwood outside of Westerns. So that's his. Yeah.
Don't worry, Six Nations. We are going to be covering all 5 of the Clint Eastwood Dirty Harry films. In fact, when we get to the first one, everything else is on pause. The only thing that matters is those next 4 weeks we do every following Dirty Harry movie. Then we'll go back in chronology and resume things from 1971. So right now, I'm looking at this film called Coogan's Bluff. And it looks very interesting because it's a good movie according to IMDb with a 6.4 rating over 20,700 votes. It is a film where he is assigned to go to New York City as an Arizona deputy sheriff. He has to go collect somebody who has escaped custody from Arizona. So in NYC, everyone thinks he's a Texan. and so it just compounds things. It's a fish out of water story. It looks pretty good.
But what's the name of it again?
Coogan's Bluff.
Never heard of it.
It is a movie that was released right in that time frame. 68 was like a fucking year he paid for a lot of that mortgage he had.
Mm-hmm.
Because in 67, he had one small bit in a movie called The Witches, where he played a guy in one of the segments. The Witches is an anthology show. We're not going to review it. But then he had Hang 'em High, Coogan's Bluff, Where Eagles Dare, and Two Mules for... Paint Your Wagon 69, my bad. So he had 3 films, Where Eagles Dare, Coogan's Bluff, and Hang 'em High.
Yes, I thought we were going to do 2 Mules with Sister Sarah next week.
We could do Coogan's Bluff or 2 Mules for Sister Sarah, but I want to do Coogan's Bluff because chronologically.
Okay, well that's fun. I was just asking. It doesn't matter to me. You can do whatever.
Yeah, we're going to hit 2 Mules for Sister Sarah. That's a must. Okay. Here we go. Good, Bad, and the Ugly. Hang 'em High. It's his first American release after being in the Dollars trilogy. Then we have Coogan's Bluff.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have the excellent movie, the World War II film, almost an epic, Where Eagles Dare. We reviewed that like single digits of this channel's movie reviews with the girl guy in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Then Paint Your Wagon, we did that last week, and that's a fucking great movie.
Yeah.
I gave that movie a 70.
I wanted to read what Tree Rock wrote about that. He said, I think Paint Your Wagon is a good movie. It's just not my favorite. I think my dad liked Lee Marvin more in that movie. All I know is that I didn't even know who Lee Marvin was. I never heard of him. And one Saturday, that movie came on, I guess, on the weekend movies, or I don't know, whatever that is. And I just remember hearing my grandma laughing, and she doesn't laugh out loud a lot when I was younger. And I remember coming in there to see what they were laughing at, and they were watching Lee Marvin singing. And I sat down and watched it, not more for the movie, because my parents were laughing at my grandmother. So it's kind of hard not to enjoy a movie when other people, are having such a good time watching it. So that was my first experience with it. And it was at home, but my grandmother and my mother just said she just loved Lee Marvin. And she liked Clint Eastwood. But she told me, remember the guy that played the bartender or the bar owner, the casino guy? My mom thought was hot. So I just remember my mom talking about him, singing that song, Mariah. And she just it was very handsome. That's what she told me over and over again. So there you go. I just remember that on TV. But you can go ahead and do what you were talking about. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay, Janet. Go ahead and interrupt whenever you like. I gotta say that we got another review here.
Oh, where is it?
Right on the first
Hang 'em High, I'd give an 8.5 due to its high rewatchability. Yeah, I'm gonna score right around that 8.5. out of 10 because I really, really liked it. I thought the actors were good. The scenery was good. I was mesmerized by getting to a cow or the same cow to lay down like that. A very well trained because it looked real when he was petting it and stuff and looking at its face. It looked like a real cow. So it was very well trained. That type of stuff. The scenery was really good. The only thing I saw problems with was continuity and editing. So if that had been fixed, it probably would have been a blockbuster. I think if it had a few of the things taken care of at the very beginning, but that's the only thing I found bad about it. But
Yeah,
8.5 is a good rating. Very fair.
I'm going to say that. Well, what's your score, Janet?
I said 8.5 out of
You
10.
said 8.5. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not rating this movie that high. I'm going to give it a 72%, which to me this movie is better than Meet Your Wagon because there's parts of this movie I really disagree with. I don't like the judge's mindset of when you go all out statehood. I don't need that. I'm good with this movie being about the Wild West. Let it be the Wild West. Fuck. And Clint is trying to be a voice of balance. Then you have the editing issues, continuity issues. I really did like this movie, but when I find myself having a problem with one of the characters in the film because of his stance on we got to get statehood, dude, stop. I mean that was my biggest problem with it. The movie for me scores a 72 out of 100. I think it's a great show. I just don't think this is among his top 10s by any means. It's a fun movie though, and there's some aspects to it that I just find crazy because I grew up in the late 70s, early 80s, up into the 90s, being 16 and 91. And I wish we would have had the rough and tumble society that the Old West had, where like, hey, you've taken 17 catalytic converters off our small town's cars. We're going to put you up on a charyu tree and watch your feet jostle until you piss and shit yourself. I would have loved to have that society much more than what we got now, where like somebody keeps getting arrested, they go back to jail, they go back to jail, they go back to jail, they get released because the DA is a fucking poop pusher or a fluffer out of California or some fucking pinko commie that we don't need. And it just really upsets me that we have that society. I want a society that respects law and order a lot more. That doesn't mean I need statehood. I just need it to be like, don't fuck up. If you live out in the outback, don't fuck up because they want to stay unincorporated. And by you being a jackass, you're going to bring more people out there. More people means more problems. And that's the entire problem that Lee Marvin's character had with that movie, Paint Your Wagon. So, yeah, we got a big discussion in chat right now about Lee Marvin. The Dirty Dozen, I feel, is his best.
I haven't seen either one of those movies, but now that I got to watch that movie again and see how wonderful Lee Marvin was, and I would like to see those because I guarantee my mom probably saw those if they're good movies. So could we put both those on the list somewhere?
Which one?
The ones that he just said about Dirty Dozen and the Big Red One.
Those are on the list already because Lee Marvin my dad already talked to me about Lee Marvin films have to be discussed. And then the Big Red One, the Big Red One is important because that's Mark Hamill's first role, I believe, outside of the Star Wars movie that happened to catapult in success in 1976. Let me double check that because
he was in that movie the night the lights went out in Georgia. Mark Hamill was the cop in that movie. That was one of the movies I requested a while back.
We watched that film.
Yeah, I know. And it was a good movie. It was a good movie, too. And it was musical. It had music in it. Lots of music.
Wasn't Rob Lowe's finest movie, but it was good.
Rob Lowe.
Not Rob Lowe. Who was the
Dennis
Okay.
Quaid played her brother, and it was
Yeah.
Chrissy McNichol, and then it was um, what's his name from Star Wars was the cop.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark Hamill. Oh, The Longest Walk. He's in that.
The Long Walk? Yeah, he plays a
Long
major.
Walk or whatever.
That was a
He's
fun
gotten
short
so
story.
he's gotten so bizarre, in the last couple of years. He's like, I don't know. He's he's just different than he was when he was younger. A lot different. I guess we all do that. That's all.
I liked him better when he was just doing the Batman narratives, Batman movies as Joker.
Voiceovers. Hmm.
Yeah, he was just doing the Batman stuff. That was the stuff I wanted more than anything else. Okay, so here we are in '76. Wizards. Wow, I did not realize Wizards came out before Star Wars. Okay. So after he was in that Corvette Summer. Holy shit. Okay. Because as much as I don't want to discuss a lot of Mark Hamill present day, I do want to talk about how fame changes people. And I want to talk about Star Wars. We're going to do an episode on Star Wars later this year. We're going to do an episode on Corvette Summer, the Big Red One, and then the Dirty Dozen. Because you have these three films right here, which kind of are chronologically like a guy going from his mid-20s to 30s. And he has fame, and all of a sudden this movie comes out, and he hits fame like nobody's business. Everybody wants Mark Hamill in their film. And so he goes all the way up into Big Red One, and he gets to star with one of the greatest men ever to get behind the fucking camera or get in front of the camera.
He was so good. And he was only 44 when he was in Paint Your Wagon. Because I looked that up. Because he was only like 6 or 7 years older than Clint Eastwood, but he looked like he was old enough to be his dad.
Yeah, he looked super old.
Because
There's
his hair was
Cat
white.
Everybody's talking about Cat Ballou about 20 minutes ago in chat.
Yeah,
And
I've never seen it.
never seen it. That'll be on there. And I mean, he's just a fucking amazing actor.
Mhm.
And he was in the Big Red One right here in the 80s. He does some really bad schlock. He does a
I've
good
never
movie.
seen Gorky Park. I've heard people talk about it, but I've never seen it.
Now, they rate Death Hunt pretty high, but from what I understand, it's a schlock movie. I might be wrong.
I thought you liked schlock.
I love schlock.
Okay, so.
Okay, there's a TV film called The Next Mission where he plays the same character from The Dirty Dozen.
Mm-hmm.
And The Dirty Dozen, that movie, it's not super old, but it's about the same time frame as pre-Dirty Harry. Like he'd just been Major John Reisman like a year before, or 2 years before. Paint Your Wagon and Dirty Dozen, 2-year time frame. But I did not realize, like, there's a period of him from the late 60s. He's on Bob Hope one night, and then all of a sudden he's living the life. Look at this shit. Wow. So
Who are you still looking at?
this is Lee Marvin.
Oh, okay.
He was Hell in the Pacific. He was Sergeant Riker.
He was in Point Blank?
Yeah.
What part did he have in that?
This is a 1967 film. Never seen it, but
I was thinking of a different movie. I was thinking the one with Keanu Reeves and the guy from Dirty Dancing or something. What was that? It was Point Break.
Point Break, honey.
Okay, I got it mixed up. That's why I was like, what the? I never saw this one. Point Blank. Never heard of it.
This looks like a fucking what was that? Payback with Mel Gibson. After being double-crossed and left for dead, a mysterious man named Walker single-mindedly tries to retrieve the money that was stolen from him.
It looks like that. it looks like that. Those two cops. You remember those two cops on a TV show? And he was like, they talk to each other real funny and stuff. You don't remember what I'm talking about?
You're talking about
Him
Police
walking
Squad?
down the hallway looks like
Squad?
that TV show where there was two cops. Uh,
Are you talking about Police Squad?
maybe. No. Is that the guy from Naked Gun?
Yes.
No, then it's not that. It's two other guys. Just like the blonde girl with the scar on her lip. It's the same thing. I'm seeing both the actors, but I don't know their names, and I can't remember the name of the show. So I'd have to look it up. But I remember it was in black and white, and they're walking, and they're police or something. They're cops or detectives, and they wear suits. And the one guy's talking, and it's like very nonchalant or whatever. But that's what he looked like when he was walking down that hallway. It reminded me of that show. Can't remember it. I'll look it up. Because I'm going to print my list out and send it to you because it looks way different. The first list you sent me looks way different than the list now. It's way different.
All right.
I'm going to copy it real quick and put it in the
Okay.
Discord.
Yeah, I know. Carol O'Connor's in Point Blank. I want to see this movie. Are you talking about Get Smart or Dragnet, Janet?
Maybe it's Dragnet. Can you bring it up so I can see it real quick? It's not Get Smart because I remember that guy. He was the one that was real goofy and had a real pretty woman that was his 99 or something. So my mom used to talk about that show. But the Dragnet, I just remember my grandma watching that on Saturdays or something.
I
Or Thursday
honestly
night.
think she's talking about Dragnet.
It might be. It was the two guys, and he's talking like real nonchalantly or something, and he's walking towards the camera while he's talking. Yeah.
Now on DVD,
Headed once.
the original cop show is back.
We're
That's
police
it.
officers. This is my partner, Bill Gannon. My name's Friday.
Dragnet Season 2, starring Jack Webb and Harry Morgan.
Now you listen.
Harry Morgan's a fucking Chad. I don't care what anybody says. That guy, he was a baller back in the day. He was one of the best fucking voices for primetime television. The guy was excellent at his job in MASH. You got Jack Webb.
He was on MASH.
Harry Morgan?
I'm
You
trying to
don't
remember. Oh,
recognize-
he was the captain or the
He was a
colonel.
girl.
Yeah, he was the boss. Okay, now I was thinking the other guy with the black hair.
No, that's Jack
I told
Webb.
you I'm terrible with names. I can remember their face. I suck with names.
I just need you to get good with your mouse. If I get you good with your mouse, you'll be unstoppable. Yeah, Jack Webb was a bad motherfucker. Sweets would be Dragnet Police Uniform, would be car number 4, whatever. Yeah, car 54. Where are you? We got a lot of work ahead of us. We're going to be 75, 80 years old when this finally hits its halfway point.
I know. That's why I said
My-
whenever we put out of movies.
My favorite part about this is the fact that like I get to watch films that like I might or might not like, and I get more miniatures painted no matter what. There is some personal things that have arisen, so I'm probably gonna be needing just to focus more on my private life sometimes. Sundays I'm still gonna be doing this with Janet, but I'm more than likely gonna be doing everything I can to get rid of a situation that has popped up. And I tomorrow I go out on a legal hunt in San Antonio for a lawyer, see if they can give me a hand with something. Hopefully they can, because the people that my ex-wife was staying at our apartment, once I left, because I'm not hanging out with a doper, I'm not going to fund somebody to smoke meth and then come back home to me. She decided she elected to stay there because she had nowhere else to go. And I thought, well, that's just peachy. You guys can just evict her. Just get rid of her. Creatively evict her. No big deal. But they didn't do that. Instead, they're pursuing financial charges against me because I was the one that was paying all the bills instead of her, because she's just, I mean, we could sell her parts to China, but then she wouldn't be around anymore. And I would prefer that, but that's just me. I'm an asshole, and I'm okay with these thoughts. I've got to fix some small things in my life, and I just figure I'd tell you guys what's going on, making sure that, like, if you want to be like, oh, fuck Bruce, I hope that guy fucking gets the book thrown at him, blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine, whatever. But I just figure I'd be polite and tell you guys, listen, here's what I've been dealing with lately. Nothing really big. It sucks. It's not really big. It's what I expected, because this company, every time they had a chance to rise and better themselves, they would just ignore structural faults within the building. And those are finally coming around karmically to bite them in the ass, and I love it. They were asking me questions about things. No. I've got these things on video. When we pan the camera up on this video from 2019, when I had 7 people in my apartment, and they were complaining about the stain on the roof or on the ceiling of the living room because you guys do not have a proper roof installed. Here you go. Here was the first time it appeared. And then for the next 12 months, you guys let it just go and spread. But, you take it however you want to. And so they're looking at it with their social media team and their lawyer, seeing if I did some sort of bad thing. Like, did I ruin your good name? No, not really. You guys have never updated a building that was created in 1981.
Yeah.
Other than that, appreciate you, Six Nations. Everybody, for those of you here that didn't hear before, we're going to watch the movie called Coogan's Bluff next week. Janet, you rated this movie a 90 or an 85, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I thought the movie was a solid 72.
I know it sounded like I griped a lot about it, but it's just frustrating to me when I see such good talent, in so many areas of a movie, and 2 or 3 people that are working in certain areas in the movie can put such little effort in their position and ruin it for everyone else. It pisses me off. That doesn't mean I'm going to give it a bad score or the worst score ever. It's just the fact that it just upsets me, because so many people's livelihood depends on whether the movie's successful, and it adds to their resumes and things like that. And you have one slack off jerk, I don't know. It's just frustrating to me when it could have been so much better, because you could see the potential for it, yet it just didn't get over the hump simply because somebody just said, "Oh well, this is who cares," you know what I mean? And that pisses me off. That's all.
Our friend Hungar makes a lot of funny shirts for a living when he's not in the hospital having nurses breastfeed him. Alleviate his pain. This is one of the shirts I'll probably be getting a hold of next. Although I love this shirt, there's other shirts he has as well.
Mm-hmm.
Janet has a hoodie. Is it a comfy?
You got a picture. You can share it if you want.
No. I was wanting to have your testimony. Is it a comfy shirt?
So it was funny. Yeah, I know. I loved it. I sent you a video of it.
Yes, I love that video. I watch that. When I'm feeling lonely at night, I watch it numerous times. It works.
I said, "Fuck you," basically.
It's great. I love this shirt. If I had $1 for a racist joke, I told I'd probably get robbed by a black guy. That's hilarious. I think Hungar.
He's allowed to have that on. He's allowed to sell that in his store.
Fuck yeah.
Oh well, I didn't think YouTube would let you have good stuff.
It's lucky for him. It's not YouTube. You should take it off and make it morbid.
Okay.
This is TeePublic. TeePublic has a very nice, streamlined design your own content setup.
And you can connect it to your YouTube channel?
Yep.
Okay, because I'm at the point where I can start doing stuff, but I've asked a couple times from my subscribers, what would I do? I mean, I don't have a clue. So
if you had to choose between a sex robot or a liberal, what color hair would the robot have? And this is the one that Janet got her international studies degree on.
I still don't understand it.
Remember, bukkake is technically a baby shower. Okay, that's enough of that. That's nothing there for one day. Hungar's teas is great. One of the reasons why we build clay and straw adobe buildings, which are illegal in the United States. Yeah, parts of the Southwest, the adobe is allowed, but you have to be appropriated for it.
Okay.
Adobe buildings is great, except until it rains, because typically the rain just kind of destroys it. But you can put a metal shell around it, or put it under like a Quonset hut or something, and that costs very little. Quonset hut does. Red Cherry 2000 all the way. Amazing. Thank you, Lady. Janet, you want to say goodbye to our crew for us?
Well, thank you everyone for stepping in and saying hi and speaking your thoughts, because we really like when the chat is interactive with us, especially giving us hints of ideas for future stuff. We really love that, but we'd love to see some of you join us, to watch the movie before we do even talk about it together, because it just feels good to have a few people in there knowing they're enjoying something as much as we are. So just next time, if you want to watch a movie with us, let me know and come in Discord and watch it with us. So, but thank you so much, and I hope you're having a good Easter. Happy Easter to everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Lady, speaking for us all, I'm thinking a hole in the side of the mountain is a home for a future anymore. I agree, sir.
Well, it depends on what mountain.
Something on the Ozarks near a cheese bunker.
Yeah, there's a few. I wouldn't call them mountains, but hills, big hills. If you could put something.
What do you know about Joplin, Janet?
Huh?
What do you know about Joplin?
Joplin, Missouri.
Uh-huh.
I've met a few people that are from Joplin. They seem to like it. But Missouri is a beautiful state. And it's mountainy. Some of it. But it gets colder there than it does in Texas. I can tell you that, where you're at. There is snow there.
It's actually kind of cool here.
Mm-hmm. But it doesn't snow where you're at.
It does.
Well, not like you'd get in Joplin, Missouri. Why? Who do you know that lives in Joplin?
I know a few people live in Joplin. No, we're not really friends anymore, but I know a few people in Joplin.
Did they tell you they liked it there?
Oh, they love it there. It's worth it.
Everyone I've met from there love it. So, it must be a good place if they love it.
It's interesting. I'll just say that. There's a lot to do there in Joplin.
Mm-hmm.
This is a trucker life video. And this is them going into a vault.
I should have read the sign.
Yeah, you should have read the sign. It's kind of interesting once it goes in, because this is a facility where
Cheyenne Mountain.
Nope, this is in Joplin, Missouri, hon.
Oh, I thought it just said up there on the top, Cheyenne.
This is not Cheyenne. Somebody put in the chat, Cheyenne or Bag In.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, you had it posted on there?
Yeah.
Okay, that's where I saw it.
Joplin, Missouri. They have underground warehouses to help keep things cool. They have over 500 million pounds of cheese stored here.
Just think about it, though. Look how scary that would be to drive in there.
No, that's
not
scary.
Knowing if any moment they have an earthquake and that whole thing collapses on top of you.
I could be walking around on the surface and be smacked by a meteorite.
Well, just saying.
I understand, but I'd rather take my chances in this because that looks fairly sturdy. No, I don't see supports running everywhere. I just see the infrastructure, electrical lines, and lights that are set in the ceiling.
Well,
in
that's what
case
those big
sides.
pillars are.
Yeah, but the pillars look like they're really, really super bulky, and you could support a lot of weight with that rock. This looks really good, really well reinforced. You can see the ceiling. They have the ties in the ceiling to help things from sifting. So this looks like it's really well done. I like Flady's idea. We're gonna go live in a mountain somewhere. The only problem is no vitamin D. Got to get through the veggies, and really can't grow vitamin D down there unless we can make vitamin D mushrooms. Anyway, I just thought this would be kind of interesting to look at because you've never seen this apparently.
Mm-mm.
I've been there. Night,
You
everybody.
go there for.
See these trailers?
Yeah.
I'd pick one up.